Many of you know that I love bigger ergo mice, and there's going to be a couple key points in this video. Number one being, why do I love bigger ergo mice? Number two, what are some of the benefits about using an ergo mouse? But most importantly, I really hope this video helps you out picking an ergo mouse, talking about the differences of ergo mice, and again, as a whole, helping you out saying, okay, maybe I should try that, or maybe I like this or that within an ergo mouse. So again, at the key point of this video, I hope it helps you out picking one out, coming from, again, a very big ergo mouse fan. And as you can see on our table here, we have multiple ergo mice. Starting over here with the SteelSeries Prime, the Aerox 5, the new Lamzu Thorn, the EC from Zowie, the tried and true ergo, going right in line with the original Death Adder shape, and then the Death Adder V3. So we have multiple ergo mice right here, but believe it or not, all of these are very drastically different. And that's exactly where I want to start, is talking about how these ergo mice are different, right? So let me start with the tried and true, the Zowie EC shape here. This is the wireless one, but again, we're not talking any specs here. This is all shape. So as you look at the Zowie EC, which I think a lot of us are very familiar with, you've seen it in many clone mice, the Glorious Model D, so on and so forth, Pulsar, many clones. So why this is such a great shape is just it's so streamlined and it's fairly universal. It might look a little aggressive, but it's fairly safe and universal. So you got these grooves on the side right here. So when you put your thumb in there, it's gonna lock it in place. Prevent any of that slide going forward because it flares out a little bit at the front there, flares up a little bit there. So it locks your hands in really well. And then right on the other side, you got the little flare out there. Again, it's kind of holding your hand in that position right there. Now, of course, the EC, what makes it super popular as well, is they have the small, medium, and large. So that's really nice because you're gonna find that shape for you. But again, with this mouse being nice and ergo, it's, again, a very safe mouse with a slightly aggressive shape, and you can feel it, the aggressiveness. You're like, it's not really that aggressive. But again, myself maining the Death Adder V3 Pro over here, which is not as aggressive. I feel like it's a very safe ergo, which we'll get to in a second. But with me using this so much, coming back over to using this, I can feel those aggressive grooves. So again, even though it doesn't look that crazy, but you can see the curves on it, yes, you can feel it, but it's also very beneficial. And that's why I think it's such a tried and true ergo shape here. Now, what I want to do after the line of that is come right over here into the Razer Death Adder. Now, this is the V3 Pro or V2 Pro, but again, it's still that tried and true ergonomic shape. And this is aggressive, right? You see it flared out there, back here. It's big, it's long, the hump is bold, the side buttons are bold. Everything about this mouse is big. And yes, out of this line right here, it is the biggest ergo. Now you can go into the, is it the EC1, I believe, which is the bigger one, and that's where it's gonna feel a little bit more like it. Because you can see this mouse, again, it's up there, it's in the back of my palm. Pretty much no matter where I use it, it's gonna touch there. It's very wide. It's a very comfortable mouse. My wife, for example, she loves the Death Adder, again, being at work because it's such a comfortable mouse for your hand to be on for long sessions. That kind of goes in line with ergos, which again, we're going to talk about why I love ergos so much, which you'll probably pick up a little bit throughout here. But talking about this one being a lot more aggressive, it's kind of throws you into that constant palm, right? The mouse is always going to be in your hand. Rather than over here, told you how you got the grooves and you can really dance around with it a little bit here. And it's slightly aggressive. Put this a next level above that, it's aggressive and it's always in full into your hand right there. So that's kind of where the Death Adder comes into play. And again, I'm gonna get into the V3 here, but where I wanna come first is into the Lamzu, because I feel like we're kind of flowing here as far as the shape. Now, first, when you look at the Lamzu just straight down like this, you might be getting some EC vibes, which is honestly what I got, believe it or not. But look at it like this, there's one thing you're gonna be able to see, kind of. Again, it's kind of hard to see with this mouse being so smooth, but you can see it flare right here towards the back a little bit, curves a little bit here on this side, right there, but then you got this hump on this side. It kind of blends in a little bit being white. If I flip it over to the bottom, you definitely get EC vibes right there, right? When I show you the bottom of this, you're kind of like, well, it looks kind of the same, man. What you talking about? But when you kind of come up here like this, and I'll swing there you go, perfect. Look at that hump right on the side there. So when you're looking at an ergo like this again, so again, kind of what I'm trying to speak about here is when you're looking at ergos, look at that shape, look at where are those bulges, right? So again, hump up here, flaring out up there, locking in over there, bulge over here, right? And coming over to the Lamsu Thorn, as I stated in my video, it's such a great, just putting it in my hand, it's like, oh man, I want to use it, but I honestly can't. I didn't game that well with it, right? Because no matter what, this hump on the side is always into my palm back here. No matter what. I can lift it up here, it's constantly touching me back there. If I pull it under the palm, it's resting more on here than it over there, so it's causing the mouse to kind of cock a little bit to the side. Again, all this is going to depend on hand shape and your grip style and everything, but no matter what I do with the Thorn here, being an ergo, again, it really messes with me. So as you're seeing, what we're going on, just with the first three we've talked about, is where are those humps? Where are those bulges? And that's what's really going to affect you, right? So now let me come on over to here. I'm going to pull out both of these SteelSeries, right? Because you might be thinking, well, these are going to be quite similar, right? The SteelSeries Prime, this is such a nice shape. I really like it. When SteelSeries came out with this, I mean, I can gripe all day long about these side buttons. I can't stand the side buttons on this mouse. And that's a big thing, a big role in an ergo mouse, right? If you're using a smaller mouse, you maybe be like, who really cares? But on an ergo mouse, again, your hand's on it right there. Your thumb's right there. You want to press the side buttons. Number one, they're back a little bit. Most importantly, they're very tiny. But right on top of both of those points is look how close they are. There's no gap in between them. So yes, you're always going to be hitting both of them right here. You accidentally hit your back one when you're trying to hit your front one. That's something, again, when you look at all the other ergos we looked at so far, the buttons are big, the buttons are separated, right? I didn't harp on much of those there because that's not an issue. But coming over to something like this, when your hand is on the mouse, you got those buttons right there, that is going to be an issue. But the shape of the Prime is really nice. I definitely get it is sharper as this looks and more futuristic type of vibe or whatever, more streamlined. It feels very EC, believe it or not. Because again, you can see that groove right on the side, right where your thumb's gonna lock in right there. Now on this side, it's a little more straight, a little more streamlined, but again, it feels very EC and your hand locks in there, but you can still dance it around a little bit. But again, being a bigger mouse, I go on and on, the side buttons really ruin this mouse. They really do. Now coming over here to the Aerox 5, where you think, oh, well, it's just a Prime with more buttons. And that's not my point, is the more buttons over here. But the Aerox 5 is something that's underrated. I truly think this mouse is underrated right here. You got that groove right here, which locks your thumb in. It's a little bit of a bigger shape, kind of, I don't know, you almost get Death Adder vibes in the hand. It's not touching you all over the place, but it is a little bit more plump. But again, it's a lot more simple and safe, I believe. With straight on this side, you got your thumb groove right here, but it's still straight right there. It's a very easy mouse to get down with as far as an ergo. It fits in your hand very nice. So now that we've had a look at all of these mice, I want to come over to the ergo that I main, being the Death Adder V3 Pro. I do not main the wireless. You guys have heard me harp on this over and over. It's just the build quality of the wireless ones have not been up to par for me. I've stated over and over, I've tested the white one, tested the black one, tested the red Facker one. They all have this mild side flex over there. And me being a Prime Ergo fan, I can feel little things like that. And again, talking about being able to feel things like that is, again, your hand is really on these mice, right? It's filling them out, so you're gonna feel those cranks. It's a little bit bigger, so you're gripping them. I still got this mouse on right here. Let me go and turn it off so I don't kill my battery. But anyways, again, your hand is gonna be engulfing this mouse. It's gonna be gripping a little bit tighter, because again, it's not smaller. You're not just in your fingers. You're more or less in your hand. And talking about the creaks on this mouse, it drives me nuts. But I do main the wired version, because this shape is so darn good, right? It compiles everything we just talked about of these into a safe, practical shape. And that's why I rave about this mouse so much. It's not an ergo shape that's gonna be like, all right, well, let me get used to this kind of, groove right there. Let me get used to these flare outs. Let me get used to that hump over there. Let me get used to these buttons. It's nothing like that in any of these mice. It's just, again, I've stated it before, right? Two different mice, but you get G Pro vibes. This is a G Pro Ergo, right? I've stated before that G Pro is the mouse I'd recommend to anybody just to get into it. It's such a safe shape. This is that in an Ergo. Now, this is a big Ergo. It is a plump Ergo. I think Razer, this is odd coming from me, right? Because I love bigger mice. I always state companies, yo, let's get bigger mice. If Razer makes a small or maybe even a medium size, I think a medium size. I think small might be stretching it, but if they bring this out into a medium size, a little bit smaller, game over. I think this is going to be the mouse for a lot of people. It really is. And again, that's because it's so safe. So now that we had a look over these Ergo mice here, and yeah, there's plenty more Ergos out there that we can talk about it as well. But I want to talk about, again, some of my favorites here so I can really speak from the heart on them, right? And throughout this, right now, you're catching the differences here, and you're probably taking pieces out on why I really love Ergo and some of the benefits of them, which again, we're going to talk about at the end, but I want to talk about one other topic before we get to that. And that is, why would you choose an Ergo over an Ambi, right? Some of the benefits here, some of the differences. And we're talking about the Razer Viper, the V3 Pro, and then again, the Death Adder, right? So we kind of got some fair ground here. Same company, newer mice, right? So coming over to the Viper, this is a very, very popular shape. It's very Zowie FK, right? We're getting a lot of Zowies throughout mice these days, but that's what this is. Again, it's a safe Ambi. I really think it is. It's a little bit longer. Now they make the small one. I know all of us are waiting, or all of y'all are waiting for the mini, not me. The mini would be too small. But talking about this, so I can sit here and just dance this around. It's not hitting my palm at all. Not really hitting the inside of my hand at all. Coming over here, I'm gonna do the same thing with the Death Adder. It's hitting me back here, and then it'll hit me back there. Hit me here, hit me over here. Coming over to the Viper, I gotta scooch my fingers forward a little bit more. And then it can sit into my hand like that. Now if I do the same thing over here on a Death Adder, yeah, it's back here, but it's also up there. So what's the result here? What are you getting? You're like, all right, I can flick and dip, I can dance around a lot quicker with something like the Viper without that hump. Coming over here to the Death Adder, it's gonna really lock in there and hold. And that's really the key benefit in the pro of an Ergo mouse, right? Me playing a lot of Call of Duty and Search the Sandstorm, used to play a lot of Rainbow Six, but again, my core FPS right now is Call of Duty. I'm definitely waiting for X Defiant. That one looks real fun. But anyways, FPS in general, right? Why I think smaller or lower profile mice were real popular was back in the Fortnite days. Because again, you can dance it, you can build, you can flick it. You're just very fast with it, right? If you're playing Kovacs and you see these people hitting these little squares, beep, 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 because you're just dancing it around, right? And that's where the smaller mouse is going to be beneficial. That's why I think they were so popular, because of the Fortnite days. That's all everyone was doing, was dancing around, you know what I mean? When I play Call of Duty, I'm not playing hardcore as much as I enjoy it, but it's not that one shot, one kill. Right? You got to hold your shot. You got to really, land it in there and kind of hold it and then get that kill. It's not bam, done. So with an Ergo, you're dancing around, you're catching it, bam. It's locked in. It's with your hand. It is exactly where you want it to be, and then you can get that enemy, right? So if you're playing Counter-Strike, maybe Apex, something like that, right? It's really nice to be able to do that and really hold it down, track your enemy, lock it into your hand, pop their shield, bring it down. Where myself, again, this can be different person to person, but myself, when I go to a smaller mouse, I'm trying to lock it in. Then when I'm trying to pull it back into my hand here to lock it, to really drop that shield to get the enemy, well, I'm trying to move my fingers around as well to lock this mouse in. I've lost my enemy, I've lost my target, and I'm the one that's dead. So that point there is really the key point of an Ergo mouse, is being able to pull it in, lock it, and hold it, and follow through with your target. Me, again, I do play faster paced. I'm not sitting in a corner. I'm not sitting there just hanging out for a while. I'm constantly moving around, but when I get that target, I want to be able to hold it and pull it through, right? In Call of Duty or Apex, you got to drop those shields. You got to pull that health bar down, With me, something like this, I'm always, I don't want to say always, that's being a little harsh on myself, right? But I lose my targets a lot more than something I can really pull them into. Now, again, if you're playing Fortnite or you're playing Kovacs, something like that, where you're just hitting this brick, bouncing around, yeah, a quicker flicker mouse will probably be better for that. Fortnite, you're moving around building so much. You won't want something like this really hitting into your palms a lot more. Now, I do enjoy the occasional Fortnite no build mode, and that is where I would still recommend an Ergo mouse. But if you're dancing around, going real crazy with the building and stuff, yeah, a lower profile mouse will be beneficial for you. So there we go. Our conversation about Ergo mice. My passion for them, why I love them, why I recommend them, things you should look out for. I can sit here all day and talk about Ergo mice. Go brew a fresh pot of coffee and just chat nonstop, right? That is how passionate I'm about them. I've used them since day one of my PC gaming journey right here. I love them, and I think they haven't gotten as much love as they deserve. We're seeing it come around a lot more. A lot of people that were using smaller mice. And again, it kind of goes right back into the gaming, right? Well, they use a smaller mice. A lot of these kids were playing Fortnite. Now they're growing up, getting into other type of games. And they're like, all right, now I'm seeing the benefit of Ergo, right? So, I mean, you can honestly see that out there. And I'm not hating on smaller mice or gameplays or anything like that. I'm just saying, hey, you should try this. And some of these points in here can really validate that and hopefully help you out. But at the end of the day, think about your play style, where you like your mouse to hit your hand, how you want it to fit. And trust me, just try an Ergo. I think you'll be back here thanking me later. So anyways, thank you so much for coming by for this video. Little conversation, little topic. I had a lot of fun talking about this. I hope you guys did as well. And I hope I was able to help you out. Please spark up some conversation down below. I want to chit chat with you guys and just talk about this. This is just again, something I'm so passionate about that I want to talk shop with you all about. So again, thank you so much for coming by. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I was able to help you out. If I was, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye now.